Who doesn't love a Mini? I, for one, have always had a serious soft spot for the brand, and I know that a lot of my viewers do as well, because in the early days, I pretty much grew Autosocial on Mini content. I used to film quite a few of them, and I haven't in a while, and that's a shame, because we love compact, fun and quirky cars on this channel, and fun and quirky and compact is something which Mini are so good at doing. Dare I say, they're the best at doing. So in today's video, I'm reviewing a new Mini product, which isn't electric. And that may be surprising because all of the coverage for new Minis is always about the electric cars. But I think they have something which is a secret weapon, and that's this. This is the humble hatchback with an engine, but not only any engine, a 2-litre petrol engine. How often nowadays can you get a compact car with such a powerful engine? So in today's video, I'm going to tell you everything, or at least as much as I can, because there's a lot to know about the new Mini hatchback in the petrol form. And I'll also be driving the 2-litre car to find out if it's still as fun as ever. So if that sounds good, then please keep watching. And if you like new car reviews and car content, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button. So I thought, first of all, let's start by talking about the differences between this, the petrol, and also the electric model, because sit them side by side and they look almost identical, although underneath there is something a bit different, and that is their platforms. You see, the new Mini Electric sits on a new platform and is built in China. This, however, sits on the existing platform that Mini have used for about 10 years and is also built in Oxford in the UK, so it's nice to review a product which has been built on home soil. Now, they share a lot of key components and all the exterior and interior looks almost identical, and it may seem like a negative that this is built on such an old platform, but I personally think if this drives as good as the old car does, then that's a plus in my book. So how can you tell the differences to the naked eye? Well, for one, the grille. So the grille on the electric car is completely blanked off, whereas on this car you've got a more conventional gloss black grille design. You also have cladding around the wheels, the sides, and also the front and back of the car. And on this car, that's finished in black plastic. If you go for the electric car, it's all body coloured. I personally prefer this. I think it breaks up the colour, and I just think it looks a little bit more visually appealing. The new car is much more cleaner in its design, and a lot of people like that, but personally I like something to stand it out, and I think the contrasting elements of this car help with that. This also has a very cool roof. So this is the exclusive, it's the top spec car, and it also features this roof design which includes an ombre effect. So it's blue at the front and white at the back, which I think is so cool. You also get some light goldy elements on this exclusive line around the grille too, which I personally am not a massive fan of, but there are so many different colour options and different ways that you can configure this car. So if you don't personally like this, there's definitely another option you could go for. For me, it would be the Sport Pack. Now you may be wondering, but Tish, there is an S on the front there. So how is that the exclusive, but it has an S from the S Pack? Well, that's because all 2-litre engine versions of this car do get the S's on the front. If you go for the 1.5-litre petrol, then you wouldn't get an S, but you just get some of those exterior details that you get with the exclusive pack. I told you, it can be very confusing. And if you are finding it a little bit overwhelming, and I don't blame you, I was overwhelmed looking on the website, then my honest advice would be to chat to someone. And I have someone which is one of the best. You may remember my friend Claire. She's actually featured on the channel a couple of times. She used to work at BMW and now she's at Mini Southend. She lent me this car today and she has so much passion for the brand and she loves building cars for customers. So if you wanted any help building your perfect Mini, then click the link down below and I'll pop some details of Claire's there and you can get in touch with her. So that's the exterior details, but let's talk about the interior, because it's something personally that I love about the new Mini. The new Mini is an absolute testament to trusting when designers have a vision, because if someone come with all of these elements and showed me a mood board of what was going in the new Mini, I would have thought they'd gone mad. But actually, in reality, I think it works so well. I really love these new interiors. I know that they're going to be split amongst people's opinions, so let me know what you think of the interiors down below. You've got this grey, almost knitted fabric across the doors. You've got a little bit here on this storage section and across the dashboard. But on the dashboard, it actually blends out to this houndstooth design on the outside. You've also got these little fabric straps as well. You've got one here on the dashboard, seemingly has no function, and you've got little kind of knitted red, blue and teal details inside that, and that matches this strap on the storage section, which does actually have a function in this case. And then you've got another fabric strap which is just on the steering wheel. I've loved this ever since I first saw it, and it's so strange and it just shouldn't work, but I really think it does. And that's finished in those copper elements, or actually that kind of light gold colour which actually has behind the steering wheel, and that matches with the exterior details. And those all just feel very modern and very quirky. I also love the fact that this dashboard is backlit at night. It looks really special. And that all feels extremely modern and futuristic, and also this is kind of going towards a more sustainable future. And then as you move towards the back of the cabin to the seats, these feel much more classic Mini because it feels very special. And you've also got that matching colour from the strap as well, just running along the centre. I really love it. There's a few different colours used which just shouldn't come together, but it really does. You've also got an armrest in the centre which is finished in the same dark blue leather. Now this doesn't open, which is a bit of a shame, but as I mentioned, you've got this central storage section here. You've also got two cup holders up front, and you've also got somewhere which functions as a wireless charging pad. And I quite like the fact that you've got this little hook just to hold your phone in place so it doesn't slide around. Now let's talk about the infotainment system, because of course this is a big highlight for the new model.
It features an ultra-slim 240mm circular OLED touchscreen for a twist on the classic. The screen is bright and features a ton of fun and interactive graphics and functions. The built-in satellite navigation is one of the highlights for me. On this car, it's fitted with the augmented reality, which makes finding your destination so simple. This is honestly one of my favourite bits of new car technology. The only negative is the loss of any climate control functions. Everything is now built into this new screen, although they've tried to make it as simple as possible by always keeping the climate control functions in the bottom left and right hand corners.
And that's just a few things that this screen can do before you've even set up your own personal profile. Once you have your own personal profile, you can add pictures to put on this screen, and there's so many more functions that you can play around with, which I personally think all these quirky functions really stand the Mini aside from anything else on the market. So that's the cabin, but let's take a look at the rear interior space. If you're looking for a 5-door mini hatchback, then it's going to be petrol only, I'm afraid, as the electric version is only available as a 3-door, although you do have the larger models which are going to follow on shortly. But this version just gives you a little bit of added length, which makes it easier to live with. It might seem silly that if you're expanding to a larger family that you go for a 5-door Mini rather than an SUV, but I commend those people because cars like this still have plenty of space. It's just what you get used to. And so many people think that they need these massive cars, but they don't. There's still plenty of space in a car like this. I'll show you. Let's take a look in the back. But just because you have a couple of extra doors, don't think suddenly it's going to become like a TARDIS in the back of the Mini. Of course, it's still Mini, so it's a little bit tight, but actually I'm more than comfortable. I've got a little bit of headroom spare. I'm around 5'5", and actually legroom is pretty decent. But what I'm surprised about when it comes to the back of the Mini is amenities. Now, other small products that I've tested recently, admit some of those are electric, like the Renault 5, was really lacking in any interior details. But inside of the Mini, I've got a cup holder in the centre, I've got door pockets, I've got two USB-C chargers which are just tucked tucked underneath the armrest. I've got a little bit of storage inside of the doors. I might not have a pull down armrest, but then it's a lot smaller in the middle of the Mini. This is just a 2-seater in the back, but I've got ISOFIX fitments on both of the backs. I've got some really nice comfy headrests, and I've even got little hooks above the doors for hanging items. So it might be small, but they haven't just given up on the rear of the Mini and not thought about how people will spend their time in the back. There's still places to charge your phones, to put your drinks, which is definitely not given in this class of car. The 5-door Mini builds upon the space that you get in the 3-door, which is 210 litres of boot space. But inside here, you'll find 278 litres. Now, whilst it's still not a vast amount, it's more than enough for your weekly shop or a weekend away. But if you've got a larger family, you will only fit a couple of suitcases in the back here. So for bigger families and all of their needs, it may be a little bit tight. But at the end of the day, if you're looking at buying a Mini, I probably don't need to tell you that. And with all that covered, I think it's about time we took the Mini for a spin. As mentioned previously, you can have your Mini fitted with 2 different petrol engines. You can either opt for a 1.6 litre petrol engine, which produces a touch over 150 brake horsepower, or you can go for this engine, which is the 2 litre petrol. And this actually produces just over 200 brake horsepower, which for a car this size is quite a lot of power. In fact, it's enough power to get it from 0 to 62 in 6.6 seconds, which is really impressive. I also love the fact that in this car it still has a real great engine sound as well. They might have gotten rid of the tailpipes, or at least the physical tailpipes, but they haven't got rid of the sound that they make. So you still get some really good engine feedback. The only negative that I found with this is, even though this is the highest 2 litre engine, I don't have paddles behind the steering wheel. You see, you have to go for the Sport Pack if you want to get the paddles, which I think seems a bit of a shame. I think it should be the 1.5 litre petrol engine with the Sport engine gets the paddles, or the 2 litre engine gets the paddles as standard. So I'm not too sure about that. But what I am sure about is this is a fantastic car to drive.
It's just an old school fun experience from start to finish. It features classic elements like the turn starter button and dials that play homage to the original Mini, while the driving position is sporty with excellent seat and steering wheel adjustments. Engaging the go-kart mode enhances the driving experience by changing the dials to red and encouraging you to have a more spirited drive. The Cooper excels in cornering, sticking to the road with impressive grip, although it may not be the most comfortable small car. Of course, as fun as a big petrol engine is, it's never going to be the most economical amongst its rivals, especially with many of them coming with a hybrid system. Expect between 30 and 40 miles per gallon, depending on your driving style.
When it comes to a brand like Mini, any changes to their cars is always going to cause a little bit of upset. And some people will like the changes and some people not so much. Personally, I'm still not sold on the exterior design. I don't hate it, I just preferred some of the sportier previous generation cars. I feel like this has been simplified just a little bit too far for me. But I love the interior. I love how quirky and fun it is, and that's something which Mini just goes hand in hand with. And I love that they've kept all of the classic elements which make it a Mini. You've got the round headlamps, and you've also got that new round screen, which I think plays perfect homage to the outgoing model. I know that not everybody is going to like all of the elements, so let me know, what do you like and dislike about the new Mini? Pop it in the comments down below. If you have enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up, and if you want to see more, then hit the subscribe button. And don't forget, if you had any further questions or queries about this Mini, or if you wanted to build one for yourself and you need a little bit of help, then my friend Claire will be happy to help out. I'll pop all her details down below. Until next time guys, see you later.